Hello, I'm Dr. Pat Stroh, and today I'm going to talk about the dress of the demure women of Minturno, Italy. And first we'll start with the starched white muslin cloth covering the head. It's a beautiful piece that you can see here being made. And it starts with the process of starching the fabric, and you can see it being cleansed and starched and pressed into the bowl, and the hands working the process. And even as it is worked over and again, then it's rubbed out and flattened, and the fabric is being worked as the starch is being easily and strongly pressed into the fabric. Now, this headdress and headpiece was used to cover the women from the top of the head and even coming out over the face to cover them while they walked into the heavy Italian sun and make sure that their eyes and face were covered. And you can see here how that looked over their face and even down over the back of their neck. And the heavy starching was able to hold the headpiece in place and make sure that they were covered well. Now you can see that the muslin is being ironed, and there's a lot of the fabric that will be dried and straightened out, and you can see even the lace on the side of the fabric is being ironed as she's carefully flattening the fabric. The headpiece was worn each time the woman went out of the house, when she went out shopping or to visit friends, perhaps to go to lunch or to dinner. Then when she came back into the house, she would carefully take it off and hang it up or put it on a shelf. This ironing process and the heavy starch that was used made it very, very stiff. And so the headpiece would last for a very, very long time. You notice that as she's moving the fabric, it's getting stiffer and stiffer each time. That's the starch that she was using in the muslin as she began. The women of Minturno were very, very well known for this process and for this headdress that they wore. You can see how stiff it is right now as they hold up the fabric. Now she will start the folding process. The folding process for the headdress is very, very precise. It takes a long time to learn this skill, and only a few people, even in our town of Minturno, only Gilda knows how to do this. You can see how carefully she lays each fold into the pattern that will then be held in place by the stiff fabric that she has created. She places only one pin in place. It's really held by her skill in the folding and the skill that she's created the whole fabric process with. She created this panel herself, even stitching the lace onto the muslin part herself. Now she rolls the sides. creating the design. Oh, and there it is, just beautiful. And that will last for a very, very long time. This has been a centuries old design that has been used in this region and certainly in this city of Minturno. Oh, thank you, Gilda, that you allowed me to wear this beautiful headpiece. You can see it from the side, and you can also see how it protected the women's head and their face. Very special. Now there's a very... Now we are beginning to look at one of the most intricate and possibly difficult processes in the dress, and that is the creation of the stiff bodice. It begins with this piece of fabric that is then sewn into tiny, tiny pockets. And these pockets then have to be filled with a stiff piece of branch. And this stick or small piece of branch, the women have to go out into the fields or the forests and collect these pieces of branch that are exactly the right size, all of them. And so many, many of them are collected and then placed into these pockets that have been sewn. And you can see here what an intricate process that is. But when it's finished, it creates this very stiff bodice that was used to hold the woman's bodice in place, and it was used over the centuries. And you can see here one of the older ones that has been from a museum, and how well they held up over the centuries as well. And so it was quite well done. When you look at the bodice and the patience that it took to do all of these things, it's no wonder that the women who created these things were so talented. And now you're looking at another part of the process that was even more amazing, and that is the beautiful embroidery work that's done in the gold thread. And this was over the top of the bodice and on the back part of the overall dress. And you can see here the thin thread that was used, and the women would take such a good amount of time to do this and work very hard at learning how to do this and pass the skill down over the generations so that they were able to keep this design in place over the generations. Another intricate detail of this outfit is the white blouse with the finely pleated sleeves billowing out around the elbows. You can see how they are pleating each tiny little detail of the sleeves, giving it the look of two wings spreading in the breeze.